So it all happened about 9 years ago. It was at Christmas. I do have a tendency to go to the hospital on Christmases. My first son was born on Christmas Day, and a year later, also on Christmas, I had an ectopic pregnancy, which nearly killed me. So that was another Christmas I spent in the hospital. And we do have 2 days of Christmas, so that was on the second day of Christmas. And about 8, 9 years ago, it was also on the second day of Christmas where I ended up in the hospital. So let me tell you the story. We were going to celebrate Christmas in the southern part of the Netherlands, but first we would have a brunch and with the son of my partner, and that's about a 3 hours drive, 2.5 hours drive from there. And I wasn't feeling that well, a bit nauseous, and I didn't eat that much. I wasn't just my happy me, let's put it that way. And when we drove from their house to the house of our friends down in the south, I was feeling a bit worse. And I told my friend I needed to go to the bathroom. So we stopped and, never mind. We got there at our friend's house, and it was the first time I was celebrating Christmas with my new partner and his family. So that was a lasting impression, I can promise you. But we were there, and I had a drink and a little bit to eat, and all of a sudden I became so cold, so freaking cold. And I was sitting in front of the fireplace with actual fire, and I was just shivering, having a blanket, and I was put to bed by my friend. She is I'm not sure whether that's the correct English name as well, a radiologist. She makes echoes and she checks them in the hospital. Never mind. So she put me to bed, gave me some very heavy painkillers, and they were having their Christmas dinner without me laying in that bed. So after dinner, she came back to me and she was like, you look so horrible. And I was still in pain, conspired all the painkillers. So she took her card and she said, we're going to drive up to the hospital. And my partner came with his car as well, putting all the stuff in there, a foreseeing thing, I guess. And while we were there, she made her echo, and they were stunned what they saw. Both of my kidneys were full of chalk. So it's called nephrocalcinosis. And I also had a renal pelvis inflammation. So she was like, you can choose whether either way, I'm gonna put you in the hospital right here, right now. You're not going back. Or I can give you a lot of morphine and you can drive to your own hospital, because where I lived was 2.5 hours up to the north of the Netherlands. So it's like, please do the latter because I want to be near my kids. So that happened. So my partner drove way too fast. So we were also kept standing by the police, and they were sitting in the car with my puking thingy, and they looked inside and were, okay, just hurry up, go on. And so then we were in the hospital, or I was in the hospital, and they said they gave me a catheter, and the inflammation that I had, the renal pelvis inflammation, needed to drop down before they could operate and get rid of the stone. So I had to lay down in the hospital for 3 days, not getting up at all, not even get up to sit or go to the bathroom. No, I needed to lay down all the time. Can you imagine 3 days laying down, not being able to get up a bit? And what's even worse, the second day that I was there, so I was submitted to the hospital the night of Christmas, first day of Christmas to the second day of Christmas. And then I heard that a very good friend of mine committed suicide. And I was just laying there. I couldn't do a thing. Can you imagine what it's like? All right, so finally they got rid of the inflammation. I could go home. 1 month later, I was back in the hospital with a renal pelvis inflammation. And again, 1 month later, I was back in the hospital with a renal pelvis inflammation. I was like, oh my God, I really don't hope this is going to be my life. But they got it under control. And what's the most disturbing thing to me, at least, a year before I had this first renal pelvis inflammation, I had bladder inflammations all year through. And I went to my PH, to my doctor, and he was like, no, that's a woman thing. It's okay. If you have sex, go to the bathroom afterwards. You know, those stupid no things you can. Okay, never mind. It didn't work, obviously. So after the surgery, I went back to him and said I was really disturbed, that he didn't want to listen to me, that I felt something was wrong. And the same happened with my nephrologist. I talked to her as well because about 2-3 years later, they discovered I also have an autoimmune disease, which is called Sjögren. And that gives a lot of rheumatic pains in the joints mostly. No, not the joints, where the muscles and the I can't come across the English word. Never mind. I do have a lot of rheumatic pains. And I also said to my nephrologist, like, is it not possible that my kidney problems come from my autoimmune disease? No, that's not possible. Another 2 years later or so, we had a genetic investigation, so for my parents, and it appeared to be that it was the fact that indeed the kidneys came from that Sjögren thing. They took a biopsy, and it appeared that my kidneys were inflamed as well. So I needed to go. I had to take prednisone. Not know whether you're familiar with that, but that is horrible. It's so changing you. My daughter went to my partner and to my best friend like, I have no clue what's happening to my mother, but I don't recognize her. To me, it felt like I was having my ADHD multiplied. And we were in a reorganization at the company where I was working at the moment, and my job was, on the line. I needed to go. So I think I applied for 6 different opportunities just to stay within the company, because I knew I had to undergo more surgery, and I had no clue where this whole thing with my kidneys and my autoimmune disease were going to go. So it's like, if I have no job, there's probably no employer out there that's want to hire me with everything that's coming up. So that turned out okay, although I quit my job last year because I felt I had to do other things in my life. So I'm having a bingo card, which I'm kind of trying to to tick off the boxes. I have a urologist, a nephrologist, a rheumatologist. Wow, those English words are really tongue crackers. And so now everything's kind of under control. So the inflammation in my kidneys is gone. It's still not okay. They operate at about 30%, but it's under control. But the pains from the autoimmune disease, those are the ones that are really like bothering, because you don't know what's causing them. I mean, I can't say that if I'm doing this for one day, it will cause pain the next day. There are days that everything goes very smoothly and I'm like, oh, I might be able to go running again. And then there are days like this that I feel like, oh, I have no clue what happened, but everything aches in my body. And that's a bit frustrating. And another thing that's also frustrating is that I really try the best I can. I don't eat after 8 p.m. Every morning when I got up, I do my meditations, I do my yoga, I go to the gym 3 times a week. Every day after dinner, I'm going for a walk. I make sure to eat healthy stuff, and yet, well, my body just is not what my body was used to be, and that's also that makes me sad. So that's a bit the background behind what's going on. So